diversification.
Find a virtual office address or something for that to work.
The biggest on-page factor that there is as many different places as possible. All the important information with regards to semantic triples on the page. You can mention important entities that Google know is based in that location as well.
Near me keywords are huge, and a lot of people just don't put them in the content.
Here's the name of the business and here's some same as schema, which does help, but it's making certain that you're properly filling in the description of what the page is about.
And a lot of people don't put them in at all, and it's quite sad to see, to be fair. However, hi guys, it's Carl from Searcher, and today I'm joined with my business partner James Dooley, and in today's video we're going to get into it and run through how to rank location pages or location sites close to your proximity. So James, obviously you are a bit of a rank and rent expert, so from my personal point of view, obviously I've got a few location sites with yourself and obviously my own personal ones. What I tend to do is I tend to focus on more on-page elements, if I'm being 100% honest. Obviously there is more on the link building side, which can help from like a citations point of view and that, but I definitely focus a hell of a lot more when it comes to on-page elements. So what is the best bang for buck that someone can do from your perspective to get ranking close to their proximity within the locations?
So obviously there is different elements. So there is on-page and off-page. Both are very important. So I think one of the biggest on-page elements that's very important is advanced schema. So trying to have schema as high up the HTML code as you can. So having it in the header and having it not just in the header, but as high up within the header as it can be. Then when I'm
on that, is that because of the whole 40 kilobyte crawl that Google will initially, like the initial pass, you kind of wanted to read the schema almost like straight away?
Yeah, exactly that. So obviously, in my opinion, the biggest on-page factor that there is a title tag. So you want your title tag in your header to be as high up as it can be. And then underneath the title tag and meta description, before it goes to the main body of the content, you want your advanced schema put in there. And remember the word, what I'm saying advanced schema. I don't just mean adding in, here's the name of the business and here's some same as schema, which does help, but it's making certain that you're properly filling in the description of what the page is about. And if it is location specific, so let's say it is Manchester in the UK, you want to make certain within the schema, you've got the longitude and latitude. You want to make certain that on the page itself, you've got images that again alt tagged up with in Manchester, but also got the longitude and latitude in on the images as well. Having the images then put into the schema, making certain that your description within the schema has got semantic triples and the main core entities of what's needed on the page. Because you was mentioning there, like people debate whether it's the first 23 kilobytes, 24 kilobytes, 30 kilobytes. But basically, Google doesn't want to waste crawl budget on a page that they might deem to be low quality. So they're only going to crawl X amount of kilobytes on your page. So you want to make certain all the stuff high up in your HTML code of what they're crawling has got the most important attributes for you to try to rank in local.
I know what a lot of people do at the moment, especially like people watching this, they'll probably just be using something like Rank Math or Yoast. But yes, they're great tools and they will get it in there. But the problem sometimes relying on these tools is if your header's got loads of code in, like script code, analytics code, all of this sort of stuff, it's going to parse it, but it's going to parse it like towards the bottom of the code, right? So you ideally want to like come up with a script that I know we've created recently, or get a developer to work with yourself to make sure it kind of goes meta title, description, and then your schema straight away.
Yeah, exactly that. If anyone's watching this video and they want to know what the script is, drop a comment in the comment section. We can send you through this script, which makes certain that the schema is higher up the page and not. A lot of people have got like critical CSS in the header and stuff like that, and it's all adds to the blow and might end up being forming part of the first X amount of kilobytes. So that's one part. Obviously, title tag H1, H2s, getting the main semantic triples with your main keyword, with your location put on there several times in different HTML elements. So like you said, title tag, meta description, H1, H2s, paragraph, alt text, as many different places as possible. I love the diversification in as many different HTML elements. Getting other close proximity towns that you're saying you've done these other areas, maybe on a testimonial towards the bottom of the page that can add on there, which helps. And then the off page is still pretty big for local. Trying to make certain that you're getting location specific links. So if it is, let's say, I give the example of Manchester, could you go and get yourself a link in Manchester Evening News or a Manchester specific page that's very, very relevant to the location? If you can get links on those type of pages, it massively helps there in ranking as well.
A really good example of that is I used to many years ago help out a guy who had a offers website in Newcastle, and one of the links we managed to get him at that time was the Chronicle, which is like quite a big newspaper in the Newcastle area. I'm not sure if it's elsewhere. Anyway, that one link is, and he also got a link from the NUFC website. Those two links, literally, he went number one, and I think he was number one for about 7 years until he stopped doing the a laser teeth whitening offer. Obviously, they don't do that anymore, I don't think. But it was like crazy how much those local links really helped.
Yeah, there's also other things like citations that help quite a lot. If you've got a social fortress, so that's like your brand with tumblr.com, brand with weebly.com, brand with rebelmouse.com and stuff like that. If you could create articles on there, like medium.com and LinkedIn Pulse are working great as part of the social fortress. That if you could go and get articles put on there, which are very relevant, let's say it's carpet cleaning in Manchester, go and get an article that's written on those places as well, tweet that article, share it on your LinkedIn, and then, because tweets and LinkedIn also, like the posts and the URLs and those are ranking as well, like gangbusters at the moment. So trying to get them going back to the page specifically as well, that works very well from an off-page perspective. Just trying to line up the relevance as much as you can, get the longitude, latitude, schema, all the important information with regards to semantic triples on the page, relevant close proximity kind of links as well.
Would you say that if, let's say, they're a local business in the sense that, it's a local page, not necessarily a local business, however, it's a national business and they will work in that area, would you say it's still quite vital for them to add some type of location or longitude and latitude schema? And would that be based off the town that they're going to be working in? Or would you say they have to find a virtual office address or something for that to work?
I mean, GMBs work great in proximity. So if you're in Manchester and you can get a GMB in Manchester, that's going to be the holy grail and it's going to work really well. Obviously, if you've got them the GMB and got an address, you can get all the citations specifically to Manchester. But if you've got a nationwide company, let's say they do, we'll keep it to carpet cleaning. So they go and do it in Manchester, in London, in Newcastle, in Bristol, and in Essex. And they want to have different location pages for that because your Bristol page isn't going to rank well for Essex and your Essex page isn't going to rank well for Manchester. So you need a dedicated page for each location. And if you don't have an address, you just got to try to do all the things with regards to on-page techniques in trying to. So a little hack I'll give you is if you are, let's say, in London, if you've done any work for anything that's got any cathedral or got an entity that Google knows based in London, like Big Ben, right, or anything like that, and you can put those as being some testimonials of what you've done there. Not only is it adding London to the page several times and Greater London as being the county on the page several times, if you can mention important entities that Google know is based in that location as well, that works very, very well. So in smaller areas outside of, let's say, London, it could be a library, it could be a cathedral, it could be a church, it could be something that you're trying to get on there, saying even if you've not done it at a church, and if it's got a Wikipedia page and it's a well-known entity, do it that we did a house nearby this church, and just get the mentions on there, and those entities also add towards the proximity and the location page.
I'd say I've got two more tips and tricks as well, more of a on-page element that I've been testing out quite a bit recently. So near me keywords are huge, and a lot of people just don't put them in the content because obviously when you're reading the content, it doesn't really make sense. However, you're able to put that sort of stuff into the schema or meta description, image alt tags, image title tags. You can add those near me keywords onto the page, and you definitely see ranking improvements for the like carpet cleaning near me localization terms. And then a second one would be postcodes. A lot of people just don't put postcodes on the page, and it's crazy when that they are almost entities in themselves, and you can list them of we work in. I'm not sure. I'm probably butchered the Manchester one, but M1. I know Newcastle's NE, NE1, NE2, etc. And a lot of people don't put them in at all, and it's quite sad to see, to be fair. However, I guess that's what kind of gives us a bit more of an edge as well. We should probably delete this video before it even goes live.
But a good way of getting postcodes in is, again, towards the bottom of the page. If you've got testimonials and you've gone and got an address with a postcode, and they're willing and they're okay to do that, or let's say you've done the job for the cathedral, and sometimes, as long as it's not a domestic client who might moan a little bit, but let's say it was specifically not just a postcode, but also the area code for the telephone number. So like let's say in Lee, where I live, it's like 01942. In Manchester, it's 0161. I think it's 0191 for you up in Newcastle. So trying to get that if you get the cathedral name saying we went and did this job, you get the name of the entity, you get the address which has the postcode, and then it's got an 0191 number for Newcastle. That 0191 number, as well as the postcode, it's known as being a unique attribute to that location. And the more unique attributes you can have to that location, the better that page then will start to rank for your keyword, your service in that specific proximity and location.
Great tip. So this video has now come to a close, and if you've got any comments or questions, please leave them below. And this video was specifically about how to rank in local locations close to proximity. So we hope we've helped.